Good morning, Greg here. Burn at both ends. Burn it on the front end of Sunday. It's the 22nd of July, 2018, 7:03 a.m. Pacific. We are officially starting week 8 of 8 for this I-Core program. This is this technology transfer training I'm in. DOE funded. We're learning about the lean startup model. We're learning about customer discovery interviews and how to use that data to build the business model canvas, the ecosystem, value chain, all these great things to build a startup or a case for a startup. And one of the cool things is that this program is really intense, right? It's like infinite work. Essentially, it's like being in a startup. And at the end of it, our last presentation on Thursday, I want to say, we have one Wednesday, one Thursday. They actually ask us, is this tech ready, to be spun out? If yes, why? No, tell us why. And just they really want. I mean, not that they're that we have to. If we say yes, then we have to have a startup. But they really want us to come to that conclusion and have reasons behind that conclusion. So I think it's really cool. Now, some of this might, some folks might argue and have argued that this is like the cart before the horse, and how could you get there in 8 weeks and things are done out of order and you don't have enough data and blah 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 blah, and which is largely true. I mean, it's imagine trying to accelerate through knowing essentially nothing about your tech and market, and in 8 weeks concluding that yes, we have a startup and these are this is the path we're going in. I mean, it's possible, but especially from people doing it for the first time, which is essentially all of us, it's definitely an aggressive thing to do. I like the fact that they push us into it because it forces us to answer a lot of questions, and it forces us, to get into that unknowns territory, right? Or just even unknowns territory, because that's a big step, right? When you first start, there are a lot of things you don't know. At least through the interviews, you can, start checking that list off and say, okay, we don't know the answer to this, but we know the question, right? That's the critical thing. And so as far as our tech goes, I think I mentioned it last night or the post before that, we have a lot of technical risk. There's no doubt about it. And then on the business side, the business risk, right? There's a long sales cycle, very few number of players, so we absolutely have to partner with one of the big three. There's no doubt about that. If for some reason one of them doesn't want to partner with us, might pose a serious challenge, to breaking into the market. And even though I don't think we see a real problem with that, I mean, from what we've seen so far, if we can perform in a test, they're going to want it. I mean, that seems pretty clear. And actually, from two of the big three, so of the big three, we've talked in great detail with two of the companies. Actually, we haven't found anyone at the third, which I think is okay because the two that we're talking to are the two real giants in the industry. And it seems that one of them is more interested in performance and the other is more interested in cost. And that's kind of, now we haven't had an apples to apples comparison, right? The folks on the one side that said that they wanted performance were more like a marketing and engineering kind of high level VP kind of person, whereas the folks in the other company that were more like, no, it's got to be cheaper. Those were more the engineers. And so, it's not like we heard from the VP of sales and marketing from one and the VP of sales and marketing from the other, and then we found these two different opinions. So, but overall, I think that's an important distinction. Is cost versus performance, and which is a larger driver within each company, because that can be very different. And so we have an indication that that's true, but we would need to find out for as much as possible how true that is. And anyway, and as far as forming the startup, so my vision would be, like if I had the old magic wand and I could just poof make a team appear, it would be like a team of 3 to 4 of these like ridiculously seasoned, somewhat retired now consulting folks that we've met and interviewed. I mean, I pretty much know them all by first name right now. And so build, an advisory team of these folks that have been in this industry for a few decades now. They're either at the tail end of their professional career and they're consulting, or they are actually retired. But a lot of them like stay in the game, on some level. So it would be, that set of folks, like 3 to 4 people. And you would have, they would be largely technical, but they would also have like, maybe 3/4 technical, 1/4 business, as far as like knowing how to approach these companies, what they would like as far as a partnership deal, what a sales deal would look like, whether it's a joint venture, whether it's just a percentage of sales, whether whatever that model looks like. And then the other side of the team, the folks that are doing the heavy lifting of retiring the technical risk, as far as like doing the actual hardware builds and testing, would be a group of 3 to 4 young like physicists, like just out of school, that are hungry, that will hustle, that want to learn from these gurus of the industry. And you can imagine that team really just moving forward through and marching through the technical risk. And then like someone like myself, I would be more of like an operations, like project management, of course, as far as organizing the progress and making sure that we're heading toward a clear goal. I would be in a role of, I could definitely handle the mechanical design, the mechanical systems that we need, laying those things out. And then also, looking for funding. We're going to always need to be looking for funding, right? Even once we secure the first round, we're going to be looking, to build relationships for the second round. And so I would imagine, I would be part of a team, or me and one other person would be doing that, almost, fundraising on a regular basis. So, and that could be the potential startup. But as I had mentioned, the next immediate phase is to get to Europe, get to this conference, try to fund that. It's not a crazy amount of money, but when you start looking at these conferences and you look at how much time it takes, and to put 3 people in Europe for a week, our estimate was not including time, was like $13,000, something like that. So not that it's a huge amount of money, but it needs to be found. It needs to be generated so we can do it. And then that's not it, right? Then it's the plan to go there and execute while we're there, and then the plan to come back and evaluate and process, and so there's this whole body of work that wraps around just physically going to the conference. But we think that that's really critical, and and it's exciting. So so I'm heading to Denver tomorrow, and then the last 3 sessions in Denver are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we do like our final presentation as far as what we've learned in this 8 weeks on Wednesday, and then there's that kind of like how'd the program work. That's when we're asked a question about the startup, things like that. So, and I think that's about it as far as I-Corps goes. And then Thursday we wrap, and Thursday night I'm back home, and then no more I-Corps. So I think that's gonna be okay though. It's a lot of work, but I'm really excited to like kind of roll this kind of schedule and this intensity right into like the next thing I'm doing, and whether that's really the startup. I mean, I know it's this these 2 projects I'm at work. We're going to execute the HPD integration. We are going to and then on the side I got the nonprofit widget. So excited about those things, and just going to leverage this I-Corps work ethic and this intensity and just roll right in. So Success Journal still crushing it. I just copied and pasted to the next week here, so I got to go through it and kind of detail it out. I think a lot of focus items are changing, which is really cool. I've definitely checked off some success steps, which is great. These are huge milestones. And so we're just going to keep rolling through the Success Journal. It's really working well, really keeping my ducks in a row, really keeping me, just kind of really focused on the bigger vision, and then the smaller tasks that get me to the bigger vision. Very important. So, I will wrap there. This post or this channel is all about my journey as an aspiring entrepreneur. These are things I'm doing, things the discomfort I'm creating for myself in doing some of this stuff. The I-Corps is definitely uncomfortable, but it's a place that we're definitely growing, and I'm feeling that, and I'm excited about it. And then also the systems I'm putting in place. So I got the Success Journal. You can also notice down in the description is my YouTube posting process. Things like these are things that I love developing, because they really help me. They help me like understand if I'm being effective and efficient. I think that's critical as a aspiring entrepreneur. Is it's all about, a lot of it's about time management, and how do we use our time really effectively and efficiently. Not just efficiently, but effectively as well. And my 4 pillars are, with organization comes clarity. With clarity comes the ability to sequence. With the ability to sequence comes, the ability to get into action, right? Because now I know what's most important to do. So now I can just head down and do it. So those are my four pillars to planning, I would say. And so in the description, you'll find some motivational links. You'll find some great music. You'll find Ents, which is this voice-based social media platform I'm totally digging. And then you'll also find the beat in the background is written by G Money. G Money's my alter ego. I've been drumming for a couple decades, so check that out on SoundCloud. Something I do to kind of keep creative, stay in a very creative space. Not that this iCore program has not forced me to be creative. I mean, the creativity of iCore is more about how do we get this stuff done, right? How do I find new people to talk to answer these questions? So that's a different type of creativity than making music, but creativity is critical, and staying fresh in that space is important. So Sunday is going to be another great family day. I'm helping a good buddy of mine pack. He's moving out of California, and so that's a little task this afternoon. But this morning we got ballet for the little one, and not sure what our older daughter is going to do this morning. Maybe we'll do some projects in the house, and that's about it. So you'll have a great Sunday. Go out, inspire folks, light it up, crush it, do great things, and I will see you tonight.